So the book I read for my project is Crazy Sweet by Jane Tarzan. Just kidding, sarcasm. I read Animal Farm by this magnificent son of a... Real quick, the plot of this book is really simple. In this world, animals can speak and they overthrow the farmer and try to run the farm themselves. So Animal Farm differs from the other books that we've read so far this year in two main ways: the writing style and the pace. So to give you a better understanding of why the writing style differs between this book and so many other books that we've read, I'm going to refer to some information found in the foreword and the preface of this book. So this beautiful man is George Orwell, and he lived in Spain during the Communist Revolution, where various manhunts left a lot of his friends and people that he knew dead. So in this way, George Orwell found out firsthand just how bad the Communist Revolution was to Russia, and how communism really didn't distribute all the power to the lower class like people had thought it would. He wanted to write a book that basically just bashed on communism, that sold it out for what it really was, which was just another system for greedy people to use their power to take advantage of the lower class. The problem from this plan was, he wrote the book in 1943, and in 1943, most Western civilizations liked communist Russia because they were doing a really good job at fighting the Nazis. So having anything other than a good view on communism was a very unfavorable opinion and extraordinarily difficult to get published. So this genius thought his way around it. See, he wrote this book instead of just an essay about how communism was bad, or just a novel explicitly stating names. The reason Animal Farm's writing style differs so greatly from the other books that we've read was because he framed it as a fairy tale. In the foreword, M. Patchett writes that when publishers criticized him for criticizing communism, he said this isn't a criticism of communism, it's just a fairy tale. And that is exactly what he did. This genius, he wrote a fairy tale, but it's a fairy tale that details the communist revolution in Russia and points out all the weaknesses and the falsehoods surrounding it. He uses very simple language to hit home extraordinarily difficult ideas, and that's a pretty fairy tale-esque writing style. And in this way, it also makes Animal Farm, the entire novel, seem a bit passive-aggressive, because his writing this way is saying that people who don't criticize communism already or don't see the flaws in it need to just be spoon-fed the information because they can't see it for themselves. So that adds a little bit more of an enjoyment factor when reading it. So the second main variation in this book compared to our other books is the pace. Now this one's pretty simple. The plot is years. It's over the course of years. And the book's only 97 pages long. And like I said before, George Orwell, he doesn't really delve into immaculate detail like other authors do, at least not in this book. Each new paragraph is basically a new event. There's not a huge need for great detail. He assumes that you'll infer who the characters represent and the demographics that each of them symbolize. So that's pretty much it for the pace. It's very fast-paced right from the beginning and all the way through the end. It doesn't slow down much. So if you're a fan of how all of these books dive into immaculate detail, describing one object or one scene for 3 entire pages at a time, then Animal Farm is not for you. So as far as recommendations go, I'm going to start out with saying that I would avoid it if I'm a reader who's really sensitive to animal abuse, because there's a lot of animal cruelty in this book and there's a few very graphic scenes. Other than that, I'd recommend it to everybody. It's a really good book, but especially to people who are interested in history or have an aptitude for it, just because there's a huge amount of allusions to the Soviet Union. And I mean, come on. At the end of the day, who doesn't want to climb into bed with a book and settle down staring into these eyes for hours? So that's it. It's a good book, it's compact, and it's good to annotate. Get it.